Hi, I'm Darnell with Wave Home Recipes, and this is my 30-day review of the Instant Vortex Plus air fryer oven. And if you haven't already seen my full review of this cooker, you can see that here on this channel, and that I do all the testing, test cooks, everything to learn about everything that the cooker can do. This is a follow-up video where I talk about my experiences with the cooker after using it for 30 days. I want to say overall, generally speaking, this is a very good little cooker. It cooks things very hot and very fast. It cooks similar to a basket air fryer, but it's got the oven type of design with the door that opens from the front here, and you can see your food through the window. And so even though it's small, it does a good job. It can hold more than a regular basket type of air fryer, and you can see your food. And it cooks up still pretty quick. And in my initial review of this cooker, I mentioned that it has just 1500 watts. I did have concerns about that in the initial review because most cookers that only have 1500 watts aren't able to cook things very fast and very hot. But because of this cooker's size, it's able to cook with just 1500 watts and cook things very hot, very fast, just like a basket air fryer would. It does a very good job. This is basically a case where smaller is better. 1500 watts is good for a small sized air fryer oven like this. 1500 watts would not be good if it was like a big XL size type of a air fryer oven, but for this size, 1500 watts is great. And this cooker really does do everything that it can do very well. It can air fry well, it can bake well, it can broil well, it can roast well. The rotisserie works well for smaller things. Everything that it's designed to do, it does very well. Probably because it's a smaller type of a cooker. I can't say that I have any complaints about anything that I do with it. It does everything pretty good. It's just a smaller cooker. It's made to do targeted things, and it can do those things very well. And it is, like I said, able to cook in air fry mode just like a basket air fryer as far as speed. I mean, it doesn't need a preheat, but it is able to cook as fast as you would with most regular basket type of air fryers, but you can see your food, and so that's a plus. You do need to flip the food if you want to get it really evenly cooked on both sides. I found that it helps with this cooker to flip things if you're going to do any type of regular straight up air frying. If you're doing something like bacon, you don't need to flip the bacon, but for other types of things that you're trying to air fry, if you want to make sure that it's really crisp on both sides, it is good to flip it over. Also, because it cooks so hot and fast from the top, if you don't flip some things, you're probably going to end up with some burn on the top side of a lot of things that you're trying to air fry. So it's good to, with a lot of things, to flip them over. Some things you may not need to, but your mileage may vary with that. But I found that you may find yourself needing to do some flipping of food to get it real even on both sides and not to overcook a side, because things can cook so hot and fast in this cooker, and it just cooks things up so quick. In baking mode, it cooks fast, cooks hot and fast, but one thing to keep in mind when you're using bake mode, since the heat comes from the top down, it is going to cook the tops of your foods a bit more than the underside. You can even see in my initial review where I did crescent rolls, they cook on the top a lot more than they do on the bottom. And if you try and cover the top or something to try and prevent things from getting overcooked on the top, that's going to really slow down your cooking time a bit. And so really it's just best to kind of take that hit from the top and know that it's going to cook from the top a bit more. The bottom is not going to be as cooked, but will be done, but not as cooked as that top. That top is going to get a real pretty quick, fast, hot cook, but you can get things done as far as baking in this cooker, small scale type stuff. You put it down there on that bottom level there on the bottom drip pan, use that kind of just like your flat baking rack, and you're good to go, and it cooks stuff up real fast. Now, I didn't use the reheat and dehydration functions in this cooker, although I would be surprised if they didn't work. From everything that I've used in this cooker, I would say that it probably can do reheat and dehydration well also. But I didn't use it for those. As far as dehydration, I prefer bigger cookers for dehydrating because I usually like to dehydrate a lot of stuff at once. And this isn't a very big cooker. It's a smaller sized air fryer oven, so it can get the job done. But, you know, it is a smaller cooker, so that's something to consider depending on what you're looking for. But every function I used did well, though I didn't get into the reheat and dehydration, but I do feel that it probably can do those pretty good too. The rotisserie is really nice. I mean, this is a small cooker, but the rotisserie is really cool. You can see my video where I did a rotisserie turkey breast roast. That came out very nice using the roast function and the rotisserie, and, you know, the rod and the forks turned out really nice. Also, you know, when I've done air frying of French fries in the rotisserie basket, because they give you the basket and the rod and forks, the air fried French fries come out really nice. I air fry French fries in this all the time, just doing rotisserie fries. They always turn out very nice, but I always do some rotisserie fries in it. Those do good. Something small like a turkey breast, that turns out good, turns out moist. So even though it has that heat coming down from the top and it uses a hot and fast cooker, if you bring it down for something like a turkey breast, it's going to do that, and it's going to do it in good time, and it's going to stay moist throughout, which is pretty cool. Now, I do have some issues with this cooker as far as its timer for some things. Some of the things with its timer features I take issue with, and the first one is with after a preheat's done, you get just 10 seconds to put your food in. Basically, after it's preheated, you might hear the fan change a little bit or adjust, and you see the indicator to put your food in. If you're using the beeping, which I turned off, then it will beep, but I turned all the beeping off. But anyway, regardless, 10 seconds. Once it's done preheating, you got 10 seconds, then it starts cooking. I really wish they would give you like a minute, or, you know, at least a minute to get your food in, so that you have ample time to get to the cooker and put your food in. You know, with 10 seconds, you have to be like right here, right in front of the cooker when it's ready to put some food in. Otherwise, you're going to be rushing to try and get over to get your food in because it's already started counting down. And you won't get your food in and try and get it started. Give me a minute at least. You know, that would be nice. Give me a minute instead of just 10 seconds to get my food in. The other issue that I have as far as its timers and such is that it gives you an indicator to flip your food partway through the cook, but I found that that indicator to flip is usually like a minute late. Like if you cook something for like 16 minutes, it's not going to, from what I found, it's not going to be showing 8 minutes when it tells you to flip. It's going to be down to about 7 minutes when it tells you to flip. So like if you're trying to flip something that is really low on time, it's only going to give you, you know, if you did 2 minutes, it's going to be like, you know, when it's going to give a flip? Maybe somewhere into the last minute. I haven't done anything where I needed to flip it after 2 minutes. I mean, after 1 minute or so. But still, the fact that it tells you to flip like a minute late, you know, it should tell you to flip, in my opinion, halfway through. If I do 16-minute cook, when it gets down to 8 minutes, it should tell me to flip then. It shouldn't wait until about 7 minutes left on a 16-minute cook to flip. In my opinion, it should tell me it halfway. That's just a little nit that I have. It's not a big deal, but I still like to flip at the halfway point of the cooking cycle. So if I'm cooking for 20 minutes, give me a flip indicator at 10, not at 9. Also, another issue that I have with its timers is the max time that you can put for most of the functions, except for like dehydrate, is 1 hour. So like when I was doing a turkey breast roast, I had to put an hour, and then I had to come back to add time for it to do like another 30 minutes because it took about almost 90 minutes, an hour 25 minutes to cook that turkey breast roast. So, you know, with that, you got to add time. I wish that the timer could go longer than an hour. That will also help cooks a lot for things that need to be cooked a little longer than just 1 hour. Now, one little nice feature in this little cooker is that when you open the door, it automatically pauses the cook. That's always really nice. I don't know why every cooker ever made doesn't have an auto pause when you open the door. When you open the door of a cooker, you don't want it blasting hot air on you. You want it to do some type of pause or delay or something to not be blasting hot air on you as soon as you open the door. Especially, you know, if you had something that might be, you know, causing even a little bit of smoke. You don't want to open the door and just have the smoke blasting out on you. You know, you want it to auto pause. This auto pauses. This auto pauses. So this and other cookers that auto pause when you open the door are an example of how all cookers should be. Auto pause when you open the door. I will say that I did have one hard time with something in this cooker, and that was cooking pizzas in this cooker. Cooking pizzas is, in my opinion, tragic. Using this cooker, cooking pizza is tragic. I mean, especially if it's like a frozen type of pizza and you want to try and cook it up, you know, hot and quick. You know, most cookers you can put in a frozen pizza hot and quick and it knocks them out real good, real quick. This one, I mean, you can do 400 on bake or 400 on air fry. You can have it all the way down on the bottom layer if you want, and it's still going to really overcook that top a lot before your pizza's done. And so it's really a hassle trying to cook pizzas in this cooker, in my opinion. It's just going to overcook the tops a lot. Yeah, maybe you can bring the temp down and try and really drag your cooking time out like that, but I prefer cookers where I don't have to do that, where I don't have to adjust myself for the cooker. I want the cooker to do what I need the way I need it done, and so I need that pizza taken care of without having to adjust the way that I cook for it. And so I do prefer other cookers when it comes to cooking, like frozen pizza or pizzas, because they aren't going to overcook the top while the bottom and the inside is still needing to cook. Of course, that's a factor of the heating element being on the top, but still it doesn't surround or get to the bottom as good. You can put a pizza on like one of the levels, you could put a pizza on the bottom, wherever you put it doesn't matter. It's going to overcook the top before the inside and bottom of that pizza is really well cooked. And so that, you know, like I said, all I can say is pizza I found to be tragic. I even saw someone else leaving comments on the channel here that they were having issues trying to do pizza. It's just a bit of a hassle. You know, basically it's like this. I will cook pizzas in it and I just go into it with the understanding the top's going to be really, really heavily cooked. You know, not totally burnt on top, but really heavily cooked on top is what I'm going to get, because that's basically what happens cooking pizza in this cooker. Now I do want to say a couple of things about the door on this cooker. The door on it, you know, it's a pull down type of door and it's made for you to be able to pull it out for cleaning purposes. But it could be a little tricky when you're opening and closing the door. You have to make sure that you're kind of, you know, keeping it kind of down into its hinges. When you're opening and closing, if you kind of, you know, pull out a little bit when you're trying to open and close, then you kind of, it gets kind of jerky, or, you know, doesn't really go in right. You got to make sure that you keep things kind of down in there like that when you're opening and closing, or it gets tricky when you're trying to rush food in and out, and, you know, that door might come out of the hinge a little bit. Make sure that you're keeping it down in there. Another thing about this door, because you can pull it out to do your cleaning, sometimes a little bit of gook and stuff can get down into these grooves, and it's kind of hard to clean down into the grooves into the cooker. I don't want to drop it, but kind of, you know, stuff can kind of get down in those grooves, and it gets a little tricky getting those cleaned down in there. That's the only hard spot I had with cleaning this. Now when it comes to the user interface on this cooker and the buttons and all, it's a very easy to use cooker, very easy to understand. Anybody can get it right off the bat, real easy, quick. You know, no special training required or anything. It's very easy to use, very user friendly. But you have to make sure that you press the buttons in really good when you're using this cooker. It seems like the buttons, you know, you got to press them real good or they don't kind of respond. They, you know, if you press them lightly or just kind of hover or press them softly, they don't really respond good. So you got to press really firmly when you're using this cooker. That's something to keep in mind. Now this cooker does make a bit of noise as far as sound is concerned. I will say, you know, nothing can outdo, in my opinion, the Emerald Galaxy Power Air Fryer 360 or 360 XL when it comes to being the loudest of them all. But it does make some noise like a basket air fryer. It makes some, you know, I guess if you're used to basket air fryers, it sounds like a basket air fryer. If you're not used to basket air fryers, you've never used the air fryer before, well, this one sounds like an average sound of you would get from an air fryer. It makes some noise, but it's kind of like the average you would get from any average air fryer. Now I want to talk about smoke when using this cooker. I had no smoke issues at all when using this cooker. I didn't have any problems with smoke. I did have, when I cooked bacon, I'd have some smoke emit when I was cooking bacon, but nothing bad, nothing that caused problems for smoke alarms. It was never a very bad type of smoke or a lot of smoke. It was just like some smoke would come out when bacon. Everything else, I didn't have any problems with smoke at all. When I cooked sausage, no smoke at all. Cooked burger, frozen burger patties in here, no smoke at all or anything. Cooked steak, no smoke issues at all. I think just with bacon, there was a little smoke that, well, there was some smoke that would emit, and that was it. But other than that, no real problems with smoke. Now I want to talk about cleaning this Instant Vortex Plus air fryer oven. Cleaning it is very easy. You basically, you can take the door off to clean it. These other parts, slide right out. They're real easy to clean. The inside doesn't get, nothing gets stuck on the inside, in my opinion, inside of here. I mean, up around the fan area, you might, depending on how much you want to wipe up in there, you can, but some stuff does splatter up in there, and you may want to, depending on your preference, want to get up in there. I don't bother up in there too much because, you can't even see it unless you're like kind of ducking down looking in there. And nothing is going to really get coated on that heating element because the heating element gets so hot that it's going to basically clean itself, self-clean through all the heat that it generates. But, other than cleaning up in there, nothing really sticks. And everything's real easy to clean, like I said. I clean everything by hand. I don't put any of it in the dishwasher, although I think these racks you can put in the dishwasher. But just for the life of the cooker, I didn't put anything in the dishwasher at all, and it was real easy to clean it all by hand. Now I want to talk about this cooker versus others. Because of this cooker's size, I will be kind of giving it a comparison to things kind of in general versus, I won't be necessarily versus every large cooker because it's not a large cooker, so there's no point doing a versus against a whole bunch of different large cookers. But basically to give you a feel of how I feel about it versus other different types of cookers, some that are similar or not so similar. I will be using my notes here as I tell you about my comparisons just so that I make sure I don't miss anything. Now the first comparison is with the Ninja Foodi 2-basket air fryer. And I'll say that both cookers can cook things very hot, very fast. The difference though is that the Ninja Foodi 2-basket air fryer doesn't need a preheat. The Instant Vortex Plus does need a preheat, but the Instant Vortex Plus can hold more. And also the Ninja allows you to cook two things at once on different settings, whereas the Instant Vortex Plus, you can only really cook one thing at a time. You're only going to be able to use one setting at a time. Now, I will say for myself personally, between the two, I personally like to be able to see my food, which you can do with the Instant Vortex Plus, but you can't do with the Ninja Foodi 2-basket air fryer. So I prefer between the two the Instant Vortex Plus just because I can see my food as it cooks. But if you often need to cook various things at different settings, set at the same time simultaneously, then the Ninja Foodi 2-basket air fryer for you. It really just depends on what you like more. Now this cooker versus the New Wave Brio 14Q digital air fryer oven, there are a lot of similarities between the two of them. A lot. I mean, very similar, but this one's a little smaller. And with the Brio being bigger, you can put more in it, cook more at once. Also, the New Wave Brio has a meat probe and it has programs, so it's more feature rich. Bigger, more feature rich, got the meat probe. So I prefer the New Wave Brio 14Q overall. Now in this cooker versus air fryer toaster ovens in general, whether it be New Wave Bravo, Cuisinart lines, the Emerald lines, whatever, if it's like the air fryer toaster oven style cookers, and just in general versus this, basically, they're bigger and they have heating elements on the top and bottom. They also have the door so you can see your food. And so myself personally, I do prefer the air fryer toaster oven model better than this because it's bigger, and so you can hold more, you can cook more, and you know, being able to get something like 13-inch bake pan and such like that just allows you a lot more versatility. And so even though this can cook things really, really fast, it's kind of a smaller cooker for smaller things. So, you know, maybe you want to keep a little cooker for things to cook really fast and a really big one to cook things that you want to cook slower while still not going through your energy bill like you would with a big stove and, you know, oven and stovetop. So, you know, it's all really up to you. But I personally do prefer the air fryer toaster oven type cookers over this smaller one. And so basically with that all said, my overall favorite of cookers, for anyone wondering, is still the Ninja Foodi XL Pro Air Fry Oven. That's still my personal champ favorite of all the cookers that I've used to date. That's just my opinion, but I really do feel that everyone should really find what works best for them. You know, there's a lot of people who like other cookers. There's a lot of people that like cookers that I simply don't like at all. It's really just up to the individual. It's good to, you know, for what you need to, you know, you can see things on this channel that see what you like or don't like and get what you feel works best for your household and your family. But with all that said, I will say that in the video description there are things like referral links to get this cooker or to my Amazon shop to get other things. Also, you can see other ways to help this channel. And so I will say with that, that if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and good eating.